Welcome to Miss Williams' biology class. Today we're going to talk about macromolecules, and this short lecture video is geared towards high school introduction to biology course. We're also going to take a look at perspective of scale. I've noticed that my students struggle with how big or how small macromolecules are. In my section of the world, these are the things my kids are going to be tested on. Our challenge question: how can we as biochemists analyze the relationships between structures and functions of living things? It is important to understand the difference between structure and function in order to talk about macromolecules. So let's talk a little bit about structure. Take a look at the chair that you are sitting on. The structure is what the chair is comprised of, what it looks like, what it feels like. So for example, the chair that I am sitting on is made of wood. It's a blonde color. It has 4 legs. It has a wide seat. It has a hard back to it. The function is its job. For my chair, what's the job of a chair? It provides support. It gives me a space to sit on. I might put other things on it. Typically, it also holds my cat. So the structure, what things are made up of. The function, what's its job? Let's get into it, shall we? So like I said, some of my kids struggle with scale. They don't understand how big or how small things are, especially when we talk about macromolecule. Macro means big. And so I think that my kids expect to see a single macromolecule with their naked eye or even using a microscope. And as we know, that's not the case. We'll be taking a look at the metric system. We will be focused on the really small increments of the metric system. And sometimes we've got to go a little smaller. So sometimes we're going to use atomic mass units. So a Dalton is 1 atomic mass unit, which is the mass of a single hydrogen atom. So what we are talking about, take a look at all those zeros. We are talking about that much smaller than a single gram. For scale's sake, 1 raisin is about a gram. So we're talking about something way, way smaller than a raisin. So when we talk about macromolecules, as I said before, let's break down these words. Macro means big, but when we're talking about molecules are still really small. And macromolecules are polymers. Poly means many. So macromolecules are actually molecules that are made up of smaller parts. The smaller parts, the singular units, are called monomers. Mono means 1. So think of Legos. So a single building block, a monomer, is 1 Lego. But if you're building a Lego chair, that's the polymer. It's made up of many singular units. We're going to start with carbs, and most of these slides are going to be set up sort of the same way. There'll be 1 or 2 slides that talk about the structure of the function and give you some examples. And then the following slide will talk about the scale, the size of it, to help you wrap your head around how big or how small these things are. When we talk about carbohydrates, we can break down the word carbo, carbon, and hydrate. You should think of water. Carbohydrates are easily dissolved in water. They are easily broken down. And this makes sense because carbohydrates are our main source of energy. And you want to have quick access, easy access to those bits of energy. The other thing is when you look at carbohydrates on a molecular level, you're going to be looking at rings of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. So if you look at the picture here, have different examples of some polysaccharides, and you can see, and also, some monosaccharides too there. You can see the ring structure. So for my students, at least, you are responsible for what these structures look like. So on an assessment, if you were given a diagram, could you basically just from a picture alone identify it as one of the 4 carbon compounds or one of the 4 macromolecules? When we're talking about carbs, we're talking about our sugars and our starches, all the stuff that I find incredibly yummy. So we are talking about monosaccharides. Mono means one, saccharide means sugar. And then we also have our polysaccharides. These are our polymers. Poly means many, saccharides mean sugar. So let's talk about the scale of these things. So when we talk about carbs, they are still really, really small. Okay, they're really, really small. So down here at the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, I have made a really fake looking picture of a slice of bread. So I've divided a single slice of bread into 28 boxes. And those 28 boxes each represent a single gram of bread. And so how much starch is in a single gram of bread? How many starch molecules? So we're talking about amylose and amylopectin. These are the dietary starches that are found in bread. They're about 200 to 2,000 plus glucose bound together. So that sounds like a lot, right? But even though they're large molecules, you would still have to have 1.4 times 10 to how many? 18 starch molecules in a single gram of bread. So 1.4, and then add to that 18 zeros. So if you haven't figured that out already, when we look at dietary labels on food items, we're obviously not talking about the number of actual molecules. We have different units to talk about nutritional values. But carbs, can you see a single one with your human eye? No, you cannot. Moving on to lipids. Lipids are our fats. Okay. We have weird relationships with food. We think lipids are bad. We think carbs are bad. The truth is, your body needs all of these things in balance to make your cells function appropriately. And so, yeah, we need lipids. Okay. So if we look at the structure, we have the same atoms, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, but they are arranged differently than they are in the carbs. So when we talked about carbs, we talked about rings. And look here, we have long chains. Okay. So if you see a picture and you see long chains that are mostly made up of carbon and hydrogen, only a few oxygen, we're talking about lipids. Okay. Lipids are generally not soluble. That means it does not dissolve in water. Think of when you mix oil and water together, the oil floats to the top. Okay. And this makes sense because our lipids primarily make up our waterproof coverings, like our cell membranes. If our cell membranes didn't have that waterproof capacity, then our cells would have no structure. We'd just be a gigantic blob of liquid. Okay. And our lipids are also going to store our energy. There are several different kinds of lipids: are saturated, unsaturated, and polysaturated fatty acids. And you can certainly read through those on your own. I want to talk about the lipids that actually are found in the cell membranes. We have a whole section on cell membranes. We'll be getting to that shortly, but not today. But the phospholipids are the type of lipids that are found in the cell membrane, and they are itty bitty tiny little things. Okay. And so in a single cell membrane, it's made up of, it's called a bilayer. So it has two layers of those phospholipids, and each layer has about 500 million phospholipids. And that makes about 1 billion phospholipids that are going to make up a cell membrane. Okay. So if there are 1 billion phospholipids in a single cell membrane, the population of the planet is about 8.3 billion people. So if every person was a phospholipid, we'd have enough phospholipids to make a grand total of 8 cells. We have 30 to 36 trillion cells in our body. Okay. So, yeah, very, very tiny. But there are things that are tinier, water molecules can squeeze through those phospholipids. They come and go freely from the cell. We're mostly made up of water. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to take some water, make a drop, just a single drop of water on the table, and take a look at it. How many water molecules do you think are in that single drop of water? Okay, how many? Got a guess? So if we're talking about a single drop of water, has 1.67 sextrillion water molecules. If each person on the planet was just one water molecule, it would take 2 times 10 to the 14. So 2, and then put 14 zeros after it, world populations to make one water drop. That's how small water is. Smaller than a phospholipid. These are things that you cannot see with the naked eye. Moving in to proteins, I'm just going to say on the onset, we're going to make this real simple. Okay, we're going to keep it very simple for high school introduction to biology level proteins. So the structure of proteins, it's folded chains. As you can see from the diagram, we've got the molecular structure, and then you can see that it's folded again, it's folded again. Okay, we're talking about carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but we're also going to add nitrogen and sulfur. As all of these macromolecules, proteins also have a monomer called an amino acid. And amino acids are going to also be made up of the amino group end, the carboxyl group end, and then there's something called an R group. An R group is a side chain, and it can be one of 20 different things in different combinations. It's the R chain that determines what type of monomer we're looking at that's going to be chained together. So you get a whole bunch of the amino acids chained together, a whole bunch of these monomers to make a polypeptide chain, which is a really fancy way of saying protein. Poly means many. Peptide is going to refer to the bonds between these amino acids. Okay, we're going to keep it really simple, but you need to be responsible for understanding that the monomer of a protein is in fact made up of 3 things: the amino group, the carboxyl group, and the side R chain. And you need to understand that the polymer of a protein can also be called a polypeptide. Let's talk about the scale real quick. Okay. Proteins control our body. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about nucleic acids coming up real soon. So the nucleic acids, that's our DNA. So our genes are going to tell our bodies what proteins to make. And basically everything that you do is controlled by some kind of protein. So proteins actually make up most of our body's dry weight. The average protein is about 400 to 500 amino acids long in humans. So if a protein was the size of a blueberry, a cell would be the size of a football field, and the average human would be 400 miles long. What is that? Well, we live in Georgia, outside of Atlanta. So if you took yourself in your car from Atlanta to Disney World in Florida, that's what we're talking about. That's one big human. So it gives you the scale of things one more time. Last but not least, let's talk about nucleic acids. So when we talk about nucleic acids, there are 3 different types of nucleic acids that we talk about in Intro to Biology. We are going to spend a whole lot of time talking about RNA and DNA, but we also will be talking about ATP. Okay, so the monomer of a nucleic acid for the DNA and the RNA, we're going to be talking about nucleotides. Nucleotides are made up of a 5-carbon sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. Let me actually get the labels on our diagram. You will see that picture again. You need to be able to label it. You also need to know that all of those things combined make up a single monomer nucleotide. Okay. When we talk about RNA and DNA, we're talking about the storing and the transmitting of genetic information. ATP is an energy source. I did not make a picture of ATP. It's coming. But RNA is a single strand and DNA is that familiar double helix. For our last bit of scale, well, nucleic acids can be very large molecules in terms of length. So the human genome inside your chromosome, the human genome is about 1 meter long, okay? But it's really, really thin. You would have to put about 50,000 strands of DNA side by side to get the width of a single human hair. So again, the idea here was to introduce you to the four major macromolecules. You're responsible for what the monomer is and what they're made up of. You are responsible for what the polymer is. You are responsible for, if you were given a diagram, could you identify it? And I wanted to give you a really quick idea of just how small some of these really big molecules are, which sounds contradictory. That's it for today. Keep calm and science on.